I'm down to jump off the high dive.
Yeah.
Like if we're on like a trip with the boys.
Yeah.
And like we like climb up, like we go to a lake and we climb up on the rock.
Yeah.
And you're like, let's jump off of it. I'll jump off. But in a weird way, it was good for comedy.
How come I'm never on the trip with you with the boys?
Because we didn't go to high school together.
I know, but
these are like my middle school.
Put me on the group chain, drop me in. You know what I mean? I think like
you have zero interest in hanging out with Hit Squad. You have no interest in hanging out. You have zero interest in hanging out with Hit Squad.
I think I would slide right in with Hit Squad. What do you think about me doesn't qualify for me for Hit Squad?
Do you play basketball?
Yeah, I'll play basketball.
All right.
First of all, love the special so much. You don't want to be hyperbolic to a point where I feel like I'm overdoing it. I feel like it's Carlin-esque. It's George Carlin-esque, and you have to take this compliment.
Mike, this is insane. You know some of the best living comedians.
Yeah, of course.
They're your friends.
This is the biggest compliment.
This is an insane
No, but this is how I felt about this special.
Okay.
And I urge people to watch this special. Like, George Carlin was like a very liberal person, very liberal views, if you were going to categorize them. But the way he did comedy refused to be categorized. He was cynical about everything.
Sure. Yeah.
About all parties, all groups, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
And I was just like, my hat is off to you. I mean, I think it's prophetic of the election. I think you called out because you filmed it before the election.
Yes.
And you basically said, I don't think people realize, like most people are just thinking about money.
Yeah,
and
money.
How it's going to affect their pocketbook. And it's like, that's what all the exit polls show.
Yeah. We filmed it the day Donald Trump got shot.
Oh, Jesus Christ. So crazy.
Yeah. At the early show. And Matt Richards was, by the way, Matt Richards is one of the funniest comics.
Love him.
One of the funniest fucking comics in the city, Matt Richards.
Love him.
Matt was the one who came into like my dressing room and was like, dude, fucking Donald Trump got shot.
Oh, that's crazy. Oh my God.
Yeah.
And of course you can't put that in the special because it's like, God knows how it ends.
And I remember being like, 11 more crazy things are going to happen. We're not going to talk about it. And people legitimately like in the green room, like we should maybe.
Right.
Maybe.
No way.
And I'm like, you know how insane? There's 80 crazier things that are going to happen. And they did happen.
Were you dead set on having the special speak to a moment in time?
To me, like I wanted it to come out right before the election.
Yeah.
I just felt like there was people who know my comedy would maybe be like, well, what's his take on it?
Yeah.
And I wanted, there were particular things that I think were happening in the culture that I think only maybe my POV could speak to.
Yeah.
And a lot of the kind of the intellectualization of like who are black men gonna vote for?
Yeah.
Like what do Latino men want or whatever?
Yeah. What do Indian men want?
Yeah, well, all that stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I was like, I don't think you've spoken to any is my first critique.
Yeah.
And yeah, do you know any immigrant families?
Right.
Like, do you know the way we talk? And so it was just an articulation of that POV of like, here are the issues that actually matter. You
create a grouping that you call Bejistan.
Bejistan, yes.
Is that your term?
Yes. I mean, I hadn't heard the premise. I mean, there's 10 other comics I could check if they've done the premise. Yeah. But yes.
I think Bejistan's going to be used.
But race
I think it's
going
to be used by people in politics.
Oh, wow.
Are going to talk about that behind the scenes in the next election.
Yes.
Because I think people are going to go, it's like what Hasan said. We got to speak to Bejistan.
Yes.
Because you do talk about in the you're talking about in the special how every election you get called.
Yeah. Oh, I get the
Brown Whisperer.
I get the call. Yeah. Totally.
Because people are like, we have
to save democracy.
Indian voters.
But don't you know we have to save democracy? That's
we
the
have
call.
To save democracy.
We have to save democracy.
And Hasan's going to do it.
Yeah.
I wonder after you've called them out in the special whether they call for the next election.
They will call. They won't change a thing.
Oh, that's interesting. Yeah. Is that your take?
That is my take. Yes.
So you feel like these people who lost this election are not taking notes on why they lost the election?
Not at all.
That's interesting.
Yeah. I don't think the power structures that be, the incumbent entrenched power system that is, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
DC, Wall Street, the DNC, the RNC, they're pretty set in their ways.
Right.
I think the only things that upend that are new phenomenons that exist outside of that. By the way, that exists in show business as well.
Oh, that's interesting.
Do you know what I mean? Like it's just I think a general concept with anything that involves any sort of like entrenched power.
Yeah.
That it exists as is until one day some black swan event kind of changes it.
No, I think you're right.
How many times have we heard this thing of like, oh, musicals in Hollywood just don't work?
Right.
You know what I mean? And then they do.
No, I think.
Do you see what I'm saying? It's it's that sort of thing.
I think you're absolutely right. I think like that's why, as it relates to creativity or on the show working it out, it's like if you're doing something that's unique, keep doing the thing if you're passionate about it.
Yes.
Because eventually in the cycle, at some point it gets to you.
Yeah. Yeah.
I feel like we've seen this. Like when I started telling stories.
Yeah.
In the early 2000s, like it wasn't very popular.
Not at all.
Now everyone's telling stories.
Sure.
Everyone has long stories.
Right.
The most mainstream
yeah.
pop specials.
Yeah.
I'm seeing people open with a 15-minute
Did you
story.
do that? You made the conscious choice to, or was it also in many ways an act of desperation? I feel like that's what...
How dare you?
No, but that is comedy. That is like stand-up comedy.
I know what you mean.
There are levels to this.
No, you're right. So, but to circle back to so when I started telling stories, it wasn't a popular thing to do.
Yeah.
And then in the last 15 years, it became like the thing that people do. And then it'll cycle back.
But you got to do what you do.
I completely agree. So you talk in the special about how essentially politicians are too old. You bring up Pelosi.
Sure.
I mean, I do a whole thing about Mitch McConnell in my thing right now. He's like freezing. He's like freezing. We're fine with it somehow. People are fine with it.
Yeah.
But then I'm like, I bring up Dianne Feinstein, who I point out went full dead. She was 1,000 years old.
Uh-huh.
And everyone's like, you're maybe 1,000.
Yeah,
He's like, that's sexist. And then she's full dead.
Yeah.
But like
average age of Senate is 65.
Is that what it is?
Yeah, the retirement age.
I mean, it's crazy, but it's madness.
Yeah. I mean, a lot of my perspective in the special is just kind of understanding the world will not change as fast as you would like it to.
Oh yeah, exactly.
That's actually, I mean, that's like the real punchline. So what do I like? You have been dealt this hand.
Yeah.
And the world will not change as fast as Uber Eats delivers.
Yes.
So like,
that's right.
What do you want? How do you want to navigate that reality? And like that's where I think a lot of the comedy is for me.
Do you think you'll do more political comedy for your next special?
I think it's just where like the bits hit me.
Right.
Like I texted you last night about.
It's where you go.
Yeah, it's where I am.
Right. So you texted me last night. It was really funny because it is a thing that I think about a lot.
Yes.
You texted me last night. Do you remember the fastest kid in your elementary school?
Yeah. Do you remember the fastest kid in your elementary school?
If people want to know what comedians text each other,
that
is in a nutshell.
Yeah.
You know the fastest kid in your elementary school. No, like, hey, what's up? How are things? Wow. You know the fastest kid in your elementary school. Why was that so valuable? Being fast in third grade was a huge deal.
It was the most important thing.
I remember the full government name of the fastest kid at elementary school.
So it was a huge deal. And it had so much, like, I remember they're like, was going to race.
Oh, yeah.
Was going to race
it's
at recess.
Huge deal. It's a huge deal.
The internet existed, by the way. Okay? So it sounds like I'm telling a story from the 1930s.
No, this is, first of all, you're absolutely right.
But don't you think
this is a great bit?
This is a great bit.
No, it's a great bit.
All right, now the question is
because people are watching this at home or listening to it, and they are immediately thinking the fastest kid in third grade.
So we've bleeped the names. We bleeped the names.
Yeah.
But in the comment section, write down the full government name.
Oh yes.
Of the fastest kid in your school.
Come on. Okay, I'll tell you mine. We'll bleep it. Was the fastest in St. Mary's school. Was the fastest.
And now he's a Supreme Court judge. Look at that. Look at that. Look at that.
It was like, no, so, but I'll tell you my story. I'm sure you have your story. So, because this immediately made me think of this.
Yeah.
50-yard dash, 100-yard dash. I think those were the dashes.
Yes.
Were those
Those
yards?
were the dashes.
Okay.
Yeah.
50-yard dash, 100-yard dash. Every year, Michael Cavanaugh, bleep, would... We actually don't have to bleep Michael because he's like one of my close friends.
Oh, that's so funny.
Yeah. We're good with him.
Okay.
And the other guy's a great guy too, and he wouldn't care, but we'll bleep it anyway. So Michael Cavanaugh would win the 50 and the 100 at St. Mary's.
Yeah.
But the rule was that you had to send 2 different people for 2 different events, running events, to the town track meet.
Yes, where you compete with other kids.
The other kids from the other town.
Yeah. Were you number 2?
Yeah. So
Holy shit!
Yeah. So I went. I think it was 50.
Why the fuck are you a comedian?
No,
you were second fastest at your school.
I'm a good sprinter. I'm a bad long distance runner.
Oh.
I'm a good sprinter, bad long distance runner.
I can only dunk, but I can't shoot. What Mike? By the way, you want to have fun on Google Images? Google image Mike Birbiglia young. Go to images. There are some... My brother, you were a smoke show when you were younger.
No, I wasn't.
You were a stud.
What are you talking about?
What are you talking about?
You're going to Google image me as a child?
No, not as a child. As a young man. There's like these Georgetown photos of you. I was like... Hey, can we go to series on this pilot? Like, you have number 1 on the call sheet looks. Like, it is Mike Birbiglia young. I remember, yeah. There's some photos of you. I'm like, you're quite the... Yeah, man. Even here, man, your jawlines, I mean, it's...
Oh, yeah, that was my first Comedy Central premium blend.
No. We're firing on all cylinders. There's one of you in a t-shirt, and I was like, my man.
One of you in a t-shirt.
Yeah. It's like a medium. Like there's kind of like.
God, it's a medium. All right, we don't have to dwell on this.
No, we don't have to dwell on this.
But the point is, anyway, I went to the town track meet.
Yes.
And I raced.
Yeah.
And I'm not kidding. The gun went off or whatever the hell indicated it.
Yes.
It was, I must have been 13 yards into the 50-yard dash. He was done.
Holy shit.
I mean, he was so far away from me.
Yeah.
And then I faked a toe injury.
Like, what a difference half a school.
Like, my toe. Oh, my toe. I just took a dive.
Oh, shit.
Because I was so embarrassed.
Yeah.
I was like, you can't show up at the town track meet and lose by 3/4 of the race.
Yes.
But that's the case of like small school, St. Mary's School compared to the larger town.
Large public school, yeah.
Yeah.
But what a difference one exit takes,
Oh, yeah.
on your athleticism.
No.
It's probably less than like 8 miles.
But what, okay, so you know your grade school racer.
Yes. And it was I'm thinking about this for a bit because I was like, why did that have the highest currency? It quickly holds no value.
What, jogging?
Jogging, sprinting, running as just an idea. It was the shit, I think, up until like
right.
4th grade.
Right, it's like crypto.
Yeah, can you run for some arbitrary distance in the field during recess? Right. So that's cool up until like 4th grade. Then you get to adulthood and they're like, never move and stare at the screen for 10 hours a day.
That's great.
Okay. So now the question is, what direction? What does Mike Birbiglia do with that?
I think you have
just go to the cellar and
vomit, I would go to the cellar and talk about it. Yeah. And honestly, I would probably do crowd work and go, who's the fastest?
Yeah.
Who's anyone fastest in their town? And just see what you get.
Yes.
Because you do get, I mean,
I did write this down. I was like, start with just do it as crowd work.
That's
and see what
the
happens.
thing about crowd work is a lot of times people they'll make fun of the phenomenon of crowd work and Instagram or whatever. But actually, like I've been doing a bit.
But
lately.
to shotgun a bit is pretty cool.
Yeah. I've been doing a bit lately, where I say to the audience, I said to my wife, like, she seemed upset. I go, what's going on? She goes, nothing. And it's that fork in the road. Do you probe or do you let it lie?
Oh, that's
And I go, I've been married 16 years. I don't know. Who's been married the longest?
Oh,
and then
great.
I go to the audience.
Yeah.
Someone says 50 or someone says 40 or blah, blah, blah. Whatever it is. Whatever the longest is.
Right.
What do? I swear to God, gold. Every time.
Yeah, when someone...
All their answers are gold.
Yes.
Because it's totally real. It's totally spontaneous. And by the way, they're never even the same answers. You would think it would be all the same.
Yeah, between the early show and the late show, yeah.
One of them goes, one of them goes, I let it lie. I asked the wife. She goes, I let it lie.
Yeah.
And then I said to the guy, what do you do, Sam, or whatever? He goes, I probe relentlessly.
Oh, great.
And I'm
Brilliant.
just like,
Brilliant.
The crowd goes nuts. It's like, I can't do something as funny
as that.
As Sam,
yes.
the 75-year-old man saying, I probe relentlessly.
Yeah.
Who didn't think he was going to speak at the comedy show.
Yes.
I think crowd work is so much about like, what's the question? And yours is perfect for crowd work because it's
this bit. Yes.
Yeah. Who's the fastest?
Yeah, and then
who's the fastest in their town?
I've tested it out with like 7 or 8 people, and they say the full government name, and I'm like, oh, this is gonna be you're right. This will be great.
Here's a Joe Birbiglia add to that because this is an inside joke that Joe and I always have.
Yeah.
Whenever you go to any kind of like town track meet, town anything that's like multi-city, you always have the one guy who goes, "I'm the best in my town." You're like, I have no way to substantiate this.
Right.
So Joe and I, whenever we're trying to brag about something, we just go, oh, I'm the best in my town.
Uh-huh.
And it basically means you there's nothing you can do.
Yeah.
There's nothing you can say. I can just say I'm best in my town.
Yeah,
I'm the best in my town.
That's so funny.
We jump straight into the working it out section, which I enjoy. You've been on the podcast so much that like you and I think have a better rhythm than most.
Yes.
And also there's a trust fall element of it, which is well, let's talk it through. Like we know that this isn't done. We know we're trying to figure it out, you know? And it's like some people do that a lot. Like you and I are two people who obsess over this. If we're not doing it here on the air, we're doing it on the phone.
Right.
But like here's my quandary on my tour right now. I have bits that are good and I like, but I can't figure out what to open with. I know what the main story is, but I can't figure out what to open with. And so this week I started opening with, I don't know if it'll stay, is this story, it's a true story, which is one day I went to, like I dropped my daughter off at like some like musical camp or something, whatever the hell it was. Like I make this joke sometimes where I go, it could have just been like a bin for 9-year-olds, and I would have dropped her in and be like, enjoy bin class.
Yeah.
Go to the go to the coffee shop.
That's great.
Go to the coffee shop. Early in the morning.
Tupperware workshop. Sure.
Exactly.
Yeah, fine.
Do they go in the Tupperware or do they go outside the Tupperware? Inside. Oh, okay. Airtight? Airtight? Breathe?
Oh, it's for tactile.
Oh, can't breathe. Okay. Well, do what you can. Do what you can. Everyone does their best.
Right.
Best efforts.
Yeah.
So then I go to the coffee shop with one of the other dads, and then it's early in the morning. I look up. True story. A bird 25 feet in the air shits in my eye. And it hurt so much. It hurt so much more than I thought it would hurt.
Oh, my God.
And I have to say, like, the reason I think I didn't think it was going to hurt was that it's liquid, technically. But it's a complicated cocktail because it's fecal matter and urine in one mixture.
Yes.
And it feels like a solid. And there's also kind of almost a spiritual pain of your inner monologue being like, there's bird shit in my eye. Moments ago, there was not bird shit in my eye. Currently, there's bird shit in my eye. And then my friend Rob, who's with me, he looks over, he knows I'm a comedian. He goes, well, it's good material. And I go, comedy is tragedy plus time. Rob, the bird shit is still in my eye.
Yeah.
And
still warm.
Right. And then I go, the tragedy's ongoing. And then
it's like the bit they do, you're the joke.
You're the joke later. From Thank God for Jokes. Yeah. And then I go, which is all to say, because I tell a story that is very dramatic for my life in the show about my dad, which is all to say, when I tell you the story I'm going to tell you tonight, the bird shit is still in my eye. I'll tell you the quandary of this comedically. It's a fun story up top that a bird shit in my eye.
Yeah.
But it's not a banger.
Right.
Like it's not, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like people are like, cool.
Right.
It's a fun story.
And they're like, where's the escalation? Where's the twist?
Where's the escalation?
Yeah,
where's this going? And that is the tease of it. It's like there's bird shit still in my eye. And what does that mean? And then we go into the thing. And that might end up in the special. Like that might be where it starts.
No way.
Yeah, that might be the beginning of the special. I don't know. But it is right now. Like on tour right now, that's how I start.
Yeah.
But my question is, do you think I should be looking for more punchlines in the bird shit story, or do you think I should just try other things at the top of the show? Because you've been in this situation before.
Yes. You've heard the do your closer as your opener, right?
I've heard that concept. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So just for people who haven't heard that,
Yeah.
some comedians say, when you go out on tour, do your closer
Yes.
from your last special as your opener, so that the rest of the show has to follow the best thing you've ever written or done.
Yes.
It's a smart piece of wisdom.
Yeah. Another thing that I felt has totally worked is do the bit up until it's still in my eye. There hasn't been enough time. Like you do the bit up until where you feel like, okay, we're maxed out. This is the joke as
the
is.
peak.
This is the peak. You ever do this with a tag where you just continue to kind of freestyle / flail on stage?
Yeah.
But your subconscious will try to find it or escalate it.
Yeah.
That's what I found, is that you naturally sometimes find an escalation there.
Oh, in other words, so I should go on stage, maybe at the Cellar in a small show, and just be like, I'm going to free associate and riff
as soon as the
this.
bit's done. Yeah.
Right.
And to be like, can I heighten the laugh?
You're absolutely right.
Because really what you're looking for, when we're like, this bit's not work, there's no escalation or there's no twist.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's a great tip. And by the way, if people are listening or, are comics, I think this is a great piece of wisdom. And I do try to do that a lot of times. I'll take something that I'm like, I think the idea is funny.
Yeah.
But at a certain point, the peak is like a 7 or an 8, but I
Right.
want it to be a 10.
Yes.
But I think that's a good way to do it, which is just go there and be like, I have no parachute. Or the parachute's the next bit.
Yeah. Speaking of the bit that I was talking to you about the
Fastest.
the fastest, there's also, I was riffing this out, the idea of your first crush.
Yeah.
And what's so we all remember our first crush, but
Talk about we're gonna bleep stuff out. I mean, I'll reel off 4
Holy
names
shit.
and we'll bleep them all.
Yeah, these people are on LinkedIn. Stop. They're paying mortgages. Don't do
in
this.
your head
Forever. But here's what's beautiful about it. I was riffing this out with a buddy of mine, and I was like, oh, that's beautiful. He's like, what's really beautiful about your first childhood crush is, it's like, I don't want to have sex with you. I just want to look at you.
That's gold. That's gold.
And maybe hold your hand.
It's gold.
Like, there's nothing. We don't have to call HR. Like, I literally, there is.
I'm in a fit.
There aren't enough
laughing.
hormones in me to make this an actionable offense. Not only
it's
almost like a Rumi poem. It is simply me gazing upon you that moves me. Like, just the idea of you.
I think that bit's done. Have you done that on stage?
I haven't done it on stage.
I think that's a riot.
But I go, maybe I like, do you know what I mean? Maybe I do it after I try to figure out
fastest
thing.
at school in 3rd grade.
Fastest one thing, and then
No, I think those two together are fantastic. No, your first crush, because also you don't know necessarily what sex is or even almost anything.
Yeah.
And so you're just like, I just want to be in the mix around here.
Yeah. I want to be within,
Just
you know how airdrop works on your phone? I just want to be within airdrop distance of you.
How airdrop works on your phone? I want to be on the same Wi-Fi network.
I just want to be within Bluetooth range of you.
Yeah, there's something about the first crush.
How surreal would it be at your age to call some random 917 number and be like, where are we at? To that name.
Grew up on a 917.
Sorry. You were in the
508.
508. Sorry. Yeah.
917 would be truly
major.
Bananas.
Yeah,
It would be
major.
major.
Yeah.
If I called a 508.
Yeah. And go, hey, it's Mike Birbiglia. I just wanted to go.
So it would be, and we'll bleep them out.
Yeah.
It'd be.
Of course.
It'd
Yeah. Why are these names so good? These names are so good. We could have done a whole writer's room and we're never going to beat these names.
Name yours. We'll bleep them.
You got to bleep them.
Mm-hmm.
There's only one.
She's fire.
I mean, I'm happily married with 2 children. But
I think.
Yeah, I remember. Yeah, 4th grade. I remember Miss class vividly.
Yeah. Do we have to bleep Miss?
We do. We
Okay.
do. Yeah. I think she's still working. Yeah.
No, but it's like,
you know what I mean? Yeah. So there's something in that idea of like, and I think the bit works because it is so pure. You've taken out like all the ickiness of love that comes later. And yeah. I don't know, what do you think of that line? I like that line.
I remember chasing around the St. Mary's School.
Yeah.
Like courtyard.
Yeah.
At recess. Just chasing her. Just like, and just
what a metaphor for the feeling.
Of course, right?
The feeling. The fluttering of your heart.
I was in 3rd grade.
Right.
I had no plan.
Yeah.
What
were you thinking if you caught her?
What if I caught her? I was going to chase her. I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen. And then, my daughter's 9. I witnessed the same thing in their school. Someone's chasing her or whatever. And
oh no.
Yeah, but then they they think.
Yeah.
They're like, that kid hates me. He's chasing me. Like, no.
And you have no idea.
No, that kid's in love with you.
Right.
I'm sorry. I hate to break it to you.
Yeah.
But it's pretty deep.
Yeah. The very memory of you haunts them in their sleep.
The very memory of you will haunt them for the rest of their lives.
Right now, he's sleeping under Lightning McQueen sheets.
God.
But just the very essence of you at recess. That 15-minute break. Him
Hasan,
chasing you.
I love this direction you're going in. I love fastest at your school.
Fastest at your school.
And the crush, your first crush. I think
Neil Brennan texted me this tag. I texted you and Neil Brennan at the same time. And funny enough, Mike Lawrence. Those are some of my favorite comedians.
Yeah, Mike Lawrence is great too.
Mike Lawrence is fucking amazing. But Neil goes, so funny. He goes, the presidential fitness test.
Oh,
do you remember that? Of like, you have to do this many.
It's like pull-ups,
push-ups.
Yeah.
But the tag he had on it is like, I remember at that age, I would have thought you would have gotten to meet the president if you
That's funny.
if you placed first. You're like, you've done 14 pull-ups.
Right.
You get to meet Bill Clinton.
That's funny.
Like, surely you do.
I love though that you're going into these perception things of grade school.
Yeah, what does this feel like? Yeah. How do I articulate this?
No, but I think you're onto it. I think like also even like crowd work, ask people who their crushes were. Shout out your crushes.
Yes.
Like, cuz the names are priceless.
Yes. Okay, here's a crowd work thing. I'm not saying I would do it. But it's an articulation of we were talking about politics earlier, about like what do people actually care about?
Yeah.
And the bit that I kind of roughly had is like things that people care about are kind of primal in 2 syllables or less. Mm-hmm. Like money, me, right. Food,
sure.
Sex, God, Jesus, house,
apartment.
Yeah, type vibes.
Yeah.
Mortgage. The idea that I had in my head is like, say I'm 8 minutes into my set and I go, here's what I mean by that. And I just pull out like $10, like a $5 bill and then 5 ones.
Yeah.
And just hand it to a person in the front row.
Yeah.
And watch an adult light up at the idea of just holding cash USD in their hand. It's
I think that's a good idea.
It couldn't buy a Chipotle burrito, but it's so visceral in its nature. If it was like a 5 on the top and then a bunch of ones, everyone at the table, like picture the VU, everyone would be like, how much is it? What is it?
Yeah.
Like they would it is a very visceral, and it is a divisive thing. I think 3 things that are very titillating: God, money, sex.
Yeah.
Everybody, I think, looks at those 3 things like very differently.
Oh, I think you're absolutely right.
Like profound, the delta of.
I think about this constantly with God.
Yeah.
You go like, you and I could sit across the table from each other.
Sure.
And you could go, I believe in God.
Uh-huh.
And I go, I don't believe in God.
Yeah.
And we're very good friends.
yeah.
Like, that's crazy.
Yes.
That's completely insane.
Right.
We're somehow able to transcend the idea that one of us believes this whole fucking thing was created by some kind of entity.
Yeah.
And one of us thinks, nah.
Yeah, I completely disagree with that premise.
I think there's something there as a bit. Just the idea that every day we're walking around with people who have 100% different worldviews.
Yes.
And it sort of works.
Yeah, it all. Like I did think about this. I was like, we talk about how crazy the world is.
Yeah.
But I'm also like, it it still is. The F train is kind of still functioning.
I think you're right. I think
like
you're
it's
right.
not, but it is worth
it comes every 7 minutes.
So
And if it doesn't come in 7 minutes, it comes in 12 minutes.
Yeah.
And that's not bad.
I used to
for
work.
some of us not believing in God.
That's really funny. You don't believe? You don't believe?
No, I don't know.
Oh, got it.
I'm truly agnostic. I mean,
Gotcha.
I actually, this is a bit that I told you the other day. I respect people who pray. I don't know if I believe, blah, 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 but I respect my mom. She prays.
Yeah.
My Muslim friends pray 5 times a day. I can't get myself to drink water 5 times a day. You're talking to a fake
That's really
person.
funny. Yeah.
And I say to the audience, I go, don't groan, because I'm not saying God is a fake person. I'm saying if you pray 5 times a day, the odds are one of those 5 times you're thinking, this is bullshit. I go, that's not anti-religion.
Yes.
That's pro-statistics.
Oh, interesting.
I ran it by Rami lives nearby. I ran it by Rami the other day. He was like, yeah, that totally works. It's like it's a religious joke that challenges the idea, the notion of God, but also respects it.
You know what's so funny
both.
is the only thing, and this is where like evangelical Muslims and Christians are kind of exactly the same. You could still do that bit. The biggest thing that the crowd might take offense to is just the fact that you said bullshit.
Oh, that's interesting.
That part of it. Like
I played in the South last week. And it's very religious.
But you could be like, I'm not quite so sure. Like you could literally just do, instead of BS, say it that way.
Yeah.
Like into the mic.
No, sometimes I go, this isn't true.
Yeah.
Like, and I can say it without bullshit.
Yeah.
But that actually is a good note.
But to me, that's like, that is also, and by the way, I think that's Nate Bargatze's brilliance and Gaffigan's brilliance. Their ability to do like, I can do my full set in front of your parents.
Yeah.
That I would do in front of all of the comedians and friends that I respect.
Yeah.
And it will resonate
I love
as
that.
deeply with both.
I love both of those guys for that reason. But I think that's a bit. I think that the F train still runs or whatever still happens, even though some people believe, some people don't. And that's a very big chasm.
Yes.
We're talking about like a major 100% worldview.
I used to work at Office Max, and so people lose their minds during Black Friday.
Yeah.
Like the idea that a printer is 15% off, people will like the Canon inkjet 5960. Yeah, I mean it's like you're saving $30 on the printer. It's like, and people are like, it's 4:40 a.m. Do not cut me in line.
Savings are huge.
Yeah,
people go nuts for savings.
And so sometimes like fights would break out over, you know, we would only have a limited supply. And there was a part of me that's like, why doesn't this happen every day?
Yeah,
like it's a miracle because these are the same people.
Mm-hmm.
But just something in the air, savings, whatever, like is bringing this out of them in this moment. But this type of this could pop off at any point, and it doesn't.
No, it's interesting. Like are
you religious? Really?
I'm not, but I'm
and you got to meet the Pope?
I'm open. I got to meet the Pope. Yeah.
You're not religious. This is in the show, right? This is for sure in the show.
I'll keep this in.
Okay.
Meaning,
are we burning material for your new show?
No, I don't think so.
Oh.
No.
So you're not that religious, and you got to meet the Pope?
By the way, I almost converted to Islam when I was in high school.
Amazing.
Yeah, a friend of mine converted like 3 or 4 of my friends in my high school.
Yeah.
And I was like, all right, I'm listening.
Okay.
I thought it had a lot of merits. I decided I opted out.
You got close.
I actually just saw him. I shouldn't say his name because whatever. But
sure.
No, I can say it. My friend Nabil I saw recently. My friend Nabil I saw recently in my show in Canada.
Yeah.
And he converted a bunch of our friends. I almost went there. But I kind of like.
And he made a compelling case. He was like, "Hey, we got a lot to offer."
Very strong case.
Oh, that's awesome.
All of my Muslim friends in my life, I've found to have compelling cases. More so than my Christian friends.
Interesting.
But also, I've heard some good atheism cases too.
Oh, really?
I don't know.
Okay.
Dawkins and all that. I think I'm fascinated by all of it. I'm a curious person.
Did you feel the aura when you were in the Vatican, when you were around the Pope? Did you feel a certain spiritual?
I will say I felt something. I think a lot of it had to do with it. He gave us rosary beads in like a green satchel that he had blessed.
Yeah.
And I brought them to my parents, and it meant so much to them.
Wow.
And it made me feel...
That's really beautiful.
Yeah,
That's
it made me
awesome.
feel more in touch with my own personal history. That's what's meaningful to my parents.
Yeah.
I enjoy performing stand-up comedy. They like green satchel of rosary beads. We're into different stuff. But it attached me to this idea of like, you know, for example, like I think about my dad's life. It's like my dad grew up in Bushwick, like not far from here. His family didn't have money. He ended up with a scholarship to a Catholic high school, Xavier High School in Manhattan.
Yeah.
Then he ended up with a scholarship to a Catholic college, Holy Cross in Worcester. And that's how we ended up growing up in central Massachusetts. Yeah. And it's like, so for him, Catholicism was all good. It was all positive. It led him to this great education with, you know, the Jesuits and all this stuff. And so I think as you age, you do somewhat get more connected to the idea of your own past.
Yeah, and I think for me, at least, it's been the powerlessness that you have.
Completely.
And just
that's
being
part
like,
of what I respect about it.
Yeah. To be like to surrender to the idea, like you don't know. I certainly don't. It's, you know, and to just be like, okay, I need some guidance in the chaos.
No, of course. And that's why I think sometimes AA and religion is hard to differentiate. Some people with AA, they're like, I can't get into the religious stuff. And it's like, well, it's the same principle.
Oh, interesting.
Sort of. It's like we're all powerless.
Got it.
So Ronnie Chang made fun of you. You and him do shows sometimes where you roast each other.
Where we scream at each other, yes.
And he was like, you were talking about Chappelle and how you didn't get invited to Chappelle's camp or whatever. And he was like, he doesn't like comedians doing PowerPoints or whatever.
It's hilarious, yeah.
But then, in fairness to Ronnie, in your new special, you don't do PowerPoints? So I'm like, did you...
Trying to get the invite.
Did you cave?
Oh, did I cave to Ronnie?
Yeah, did you cave to Ronnie? Did you take it to heart?
Never. I would never cave to Ronnie.
All right.
No, I also wanted to I want every special to feel like, so what is he gonna do?
Oh, I think that's true. I love that. I love that that's your impulse.
To me is like the exciting part of it.
Right.
And it was honoring like that.
I like that.
I remember when we were shooting it, the cinematographer was, we basically put the stage in the middle of the venue. The venue is the San Jose Civic.
Yeah,
isn't made for comedy. Like they do Japanese wrestling there, and they do other kind of like live sports where you put the ring in the middle of the
like Madison Square Garden.
Yeah. And so the cinematographer is like, there's people in every shot.
I like that.
And I said, I think that's I want it to feel that way.
Yeah,
I don't want it to be like
one of my favorite things.
I don't want it to be a presentation. I want it to be like this. And we took one show.
Yeah,
we're gonna take one show, and that feeling felt right.
Yeah,
and like even including like I wipe my sweat, I take a sip, like
right.
I move the mic stand. We're not like oh cut to the tight, so we'll just cut around that.
Yeah.
Oh, lift that. Like no.
I loved it. So slow round. What's your superpower that people wouldn't know? They're just like, oh, he's funny, but actually maybe your superpower is something else.
I'm pretty good at drawing. I'm a pretty good drawer.
Okay, you're blowing my mind.
But I'm not Mateo Lane good.
Right. I get that.
But I'm pretty good at drawing, and I'm down to jump off the high dive.
Yeah.
Like if we're on like a trip with the boys.
Yeah.
And like we like climb up, like we go to a lake and we climb up on the rock.
Yeah.
And you're like, let's jump off of it. I'll jump off.
Me too.
I'll jump off.
Same.
So like that's probably like my, but in a weird way, it was good for comedy.
How come I'm never on the trip with you with the boys?
Because we didn't go to high school together.
I know, but
these are like my middle school.
Put me on the group chain, drop me in. You know what I mean? I think like
you have zero interest in hanging out with Hit Squad. You have no interest in hanging out. You have zero interest in hanging out with Hit Squad.
I think I would slide right in with Hit Squad. What do you think about me doesn't qualify me for Hit Squad?
Do you play basketball?
Yeah, I'll play basketball.
All right.
I'm not very good.
My favorite. Yeah.
But I'm fast.
You're fast?
I'm fast. I'll get up
Yeah, you are fast. Yeah.
I'll get up the court fast, but I'm not great in the third quarter.
Dare I say you're one of the fastest at your school?
One of the fastest, biggest, fastest in my town.
In your town.
Yeah.
That's
But
great.
not faster than
No, fuck.
and my
Holy
Michael
shit.
Kavanaugh.
Is a great name too. Is like, oh, so he's cornerback for the 49ers now.
I know.
Like, doesn't it sound like such a...
I know. He's a great
He
guy.
sounds fast.
Yeah, he's a great guy too. Okay. What are people's favorite and least favorite thing about you?
I mean, I know people's least favorite thing about me is probably like my intensity or, my energy. People can be like, you're a lot.
I've heard that about myself.
Which they are right. They are right. I can be a lot. I understand that. And both, and the sad part is both parties are right.
Right.
My spouse, family, and Hit Squad are like, you're a lot.
Yeah.
And the worst parts of the comment section are like, this dude is a lot. So,
I like your a lotness.
I'm
team a lot.
I think being passionate is important.
Yes. Agreed.
Yeah. But also in a weird way, if you've ever been in a comedy writer's room, it is about idea generation. Like, you kind of do have to, like, what are we doing?
Right.
Even if like a friend of yours is doing, and I've had to help friends that are prepping
working on a special,
prepping a monologue for SNL. Like, it is a momentum and volume thing.
No, you're absolutely
You need a
right.
lot of ideas, and then
you also need people who, the thing you're saying of like you're being a lot, it's like, you also need people who are willing to fail a lot.
Yeah.
Like, and that is like something that people who are a lot have, which is they're just willing to be like, yeah, I'll fall on my face again. Yeah. Then I'll fall on my face again. Then I'll fall on my face again. Yeah. And then eventually we'll figure out an idea.
Yeah. And then what it makes it perhaps strange in social situations is, do you have to have an opinion on everything?
Oh,
it's that.
Right.
And I totally get why that is. It can be annoying, but for our career,
right.
When people are like, you should talk about who Luigi. Okay, what about what's the take? No, you should talk about the president. Yeah, what about the president?
I know, but that's what's funny.
It's all like, what is your POV?
But that's what's funny about when you talk about when someone we adore culturally says some kind of crazy ass shit. You're like, yeah, but that's why he's the other thing.
Oh, interesting.
He's a lot.
yeah.
Like, you don't have to.
Yeah.
You don't have to be married to that person. Right. But like,
respect. You're right. And respectfully, everyone you love is a lot. Like,
yeah.
Anyone that you're a fan of, you're a fan of their flavor.
Yeah.
A lot of their flavor.
Agreed.
That's what you're a fan of. So
agreed.
That's my.
Okay. And then what's people's favorite thing about you?
This is how self-deprecating. I don't even know. I know my chief critique.
I would say a compliment of you is you're deeply loyal.
Yes. I was about to say that.
And I think you're also very open-minded.
Yes.
I feel like you're willing to engage with anyone on anything in a pretty open-minded way.
Yeah. That's probably my best quality. Like, I will call, and I'll show up. I'll be like, I'll come to your spot and be like, hey, what's up?
What's a song that makes you cry?
Frank Sinatra has this performance at Madison Square Garden in the 70s where he sings I Did It My Way.
Oh, that's nice.
And it's very, very, very moving. And I did the Kennedy Center years ago, and Mateo Lane opened, and I asked him personally, I was like, will you sing I Did It My Way?
Oh, that's nice.
To close it. And he like brought the house down. He was incredible.
Mateo's incredible.
He was spectacular.
He's got a killer voice.
Him doing comedy is one of 9 things he could be doing.
No, I know. It's so fascinating.
Yeah, he brought the house down. It was truly beautiful.
But, wow, that's interesting that Sinatra.
Have you had Mateo on the show?
Yeah, and he's great.
He's incredible.
There's clamoring for more.
Yeah.
People want more Mateo on this podcast. He's great. But like, what is it? Why do you think it's emotional that I did it my way? Because you did it your way? Of course it is.
There's a verse in it about taking your licks in life.
Yeah.
And to just keep going.
Yeah.
And I think the older I get, and especially watching it in my children, the thing that I hope for them the most is no matter what happens, I can't protect you or save you from what the world will do to you or what destiny has in store for you. But how you play your hand is really all that matters.
Yeah. It's beautiful.
Like that's the whole thing.
Yeah. I completely
agree.
agree.
This is the hand I was dealt. Like how do we play this hand?
So this is all working out for a cause. Is there a nonprofit that you like to contribute to? We will contribute and link to them in the show notes.
UNICEF.
We will contribute to them. We will link to them in the show notes. Hasan Minhaj, congratulations.
Thank you, man.
On your special, which is so funny.
Dude, thank you, man. Thank you for calling me when you watched it. It means a lot. Yeah.
It's great. And thanks for coming on the show.